Progress ratio.
That's it.
Okay. Are we broadcasting yet? Okay. Right. So welcome everyone to this meeting of the Alcohol and Gambling Licensing Committee. Thank you all for your attendance. I am going to start by reading out the evacuation procedure word for word because we haven't had that many meetings in recent months. There is a location plan of the exits and the assembly points situated on the doors of this room. Please familiarise yourself with it. On discovering a fire, please carry out the following: sound the alarm, attack fire if possible, and it is safe to do so using the advice provided. 3. On hearing the evacuation signal, please carry out the following: exit the building by your nearest safest exit. All visitors to report to assembly point G, or staff to report to their designated assembly point on Walpack Way car park. Do not leave the assembly point for any reason until told to do so by the incident controller or a fire brigade officer. Thank you for that. Agenda item 2 is to receive any apologies for absence. Do we have any apologies?
I sent mine. I sent ours in this morning.
Okay. I haven't got a list in front of me, I'm afraid, so I don't know. I know we've got 2 or 3 apologies. Okay. Agenda item 3, disclosure of pecuniary and non-pecuniary interests. Councillor Wright.
Yeah, I've got non-pecuniary interest for the spread eagle application up in the Latin of the room.
Okay.
Just discussing the call. So.
Any more? No? Agenda item 4 is the minutes of the licensing committee held on the 26th of January 2021. Has everyone got a copy of those minutes? I'll just go through them page by page. Page 1, yeah. And page 2.
Did we accept the minutes, Chair?
Thank you. You have a second for that? Thank you. We'll show of hands, all in favour. Thank you, that's carried. Agenda item 5, public participation. You're not aware of anyone? Right, agenda item 6. This is the appointment of licensing subcommittees. Now, as was explained in the training earlier, it's normal for us to have a 3-person subcommittee. The legal advice is that we appoint those committees formally. So the recommendation of the report that's before you is that we agree that those committees can be made of any combination of 3 members of the committee. Has anyone got any questions or comments on the report? In that case, I'll move the report from the chair. Do we have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Clues. Show of hands, all in favour. That's carried unanimously. Thank you. Agenda item 7 takes us into a subcommittee hearing, which is in this case, the full committee, in relation to an application to vary the premises licence at the Spread Eagle Public House. We're ready now to move into the hearing, Clive. We've all been handed a pack. We've all got a pack in front of us. Have we got everyone who needs to be present here, Clive?
Yes, Chair, the box is just going to be brought in, so all the members are here, aren't they?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So they'll come in a moment.
So we just need to wait for
yeah.
Welcome everyone. Thank you for attending tonight. Before we start, I've done it once for the members of the committee, but I'm going to just do it again. I'm going to read out the evacuation procedures. There is a location plan of the exits and the assembly points situated on the doors of this room. Please familiarise yourself with it. On discovering the fire, please carry out the following: sound the alarm, attack the fire if possible, and it is safe to do so using the appliance provided. On hearing the evacuation signal, please carry out the following: exit the building by your nearest safest exit. All visitors to report to assembly point G. All staff to report to their designated assembly point on Woolpack Way car park. Do not leave the assembly point for any reason until told to do so by the incident controller or the fire brigade officer. I'm now going to formally open the hearing. The purpose of this hearing tonight is to consider a premises licence variation application in relation to the Spread Eagle Public House, 11 High Street, Polesworth. I would normally introduce the members of the subcommittee, but it's quite a big committee tonight. All of the members have got their name cards in front of them, so unless anybody particularly wants everyone to say the word, I'll ask the members of the committee to introduce themselves. Is that okay?
Just for clarity, can you just state that I'm not a member of the committee?
Yeah. We've got one or two members, I think, who are here as non-members of the licensing committee, and they obviously won't participate in the decision tonight. Can you just ask the applicant if they understand the procedure that will be following tonight?
Yes, thank you. It's been, I've received it in writing. It's been explained to the council.
Okay. And you, I should ask you if you're aware that you can be represented, not believe you are represented.
Yes, so my name is Freddie Humphries and I'm a barrister and I'm speaking on behalf of the applicant, and then I've got a team who I can introduce in a moment.
Thank you. Thank you. In that case, can I ask for the names of all those present who wish to appear at the hearing tonight?
I'm Dave Dye, I'm the actual licensing officer of the Portugal Council.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll introduce my team. So like I say, I'm Freddie Humphries and I'm a barrister speaking on behalf of the applicant. So I'll do most of the talking, but if you've got questions, then the sort of team with me can field. So to my right is Karen Stevens, who is the DPS and Managing Director of Westbourne Leisure, who hold the licence. And to my left is Carl Moore, who's the licensing agent who acts on behalf of the premises. And then over his shoulder it is Tracy Fullylock, who's the manager of the premises. So they're the individuals who you'll be hearing from most likely this evening.
Thank you, and welcome to the meeting. I'll just refer everyone to the authorities' licence, the policy guidance. Have you all seen a copy of the authorities' guidance?
Yes, thank you.
You're going to now move to the presentation of the council's case, so that would be thank
The hearing is brought under the Licensing Act 2003 and the Licensing Act 2003 Hearings Regulation 2005 to determine a premises licence variation application for the Spread Eagle Public House, which is 11 High Street, Polesworth, B781DX. Application has been made by CNA Risk Management Limited on behalf of the premises licence holder, which is Westbourne Leisure Limited. Legislation covering the determination of this premises licence application here is the Licensing Act 2003. The 2003 Act sets out 4 objectives, which are namely the prevention of crime and disorder, promotion of public safety, prevention of public nuisance, and protection of children from harm. The 2003 Act requires a licensing authority to carry out the functions with a view to promoting these licensing objectives. Application was received on the 28th of May this year and will require a 28-day consultation period ending on the 25th of June 2021. And the application is requesting the following. The applicant is seeking to extend the licensed area of the Spread Eagle Public House to the outside boundary line of the adjoining garden. If you look through the folders, you will see there's a plan which is in colour, which is clearly marked with a red line. All the regulated activities to cease in the licensed outdoor area from 2000 hours to 1200 hours Monday to Saturday, and the supply of alcohol to cease in the licensed outdoor area from 23:30 to 1000 hours Monday to Sunday. The current premises licence authorises the following licensable activities: the supply of alcohol, indoor sporting events, live and recorded music, performances of dance, and anything similar. Currently, the supply of alcohol on the current premises licence is Sunday to Thursday, 1000 hours to 2300 hours, Friday and Saturday, 1000 hours to 0100 hours. Indoor sporting events, live and recorded music, performance of dance, anything similar, Sunday to Thursday, 10 a.m. till 22:30 or 10:30 p.m. Friday and Saturday, 10 a.m. till 11:30 p.m. Members should note that since the passing of the Live Music Act 2012, premises with a licence to supply alcohol may play recorded music or hold performance of live music subject to a maximum audience of 500 people between 8 a.m. and 11 p.m. whilst the premises are open for the supply of alcohol. During those times, any condition on the licence relating to music has no effect unless altered on review of the licence, or if on such a review it is decided that this provision does not apply. And to promote all licensing objectives, the applicant has stated, generally, management will ensure all staff receive adequate training on a regular basis relating to the core licensing objectives, in particular to prevent underage drinking, drunkenness, the use of drugs and violent or antisocial behaviour, and a need to protect children from harm. A record of the training will be kept by the management. The prevention of crime and disorder, staff will be given ongoing training, including identification of antisocial or unusual behaviour. CCTV system to be installed fit for the purpose and satisfaction of Warwickshire Police. Images to be retained for at least 31 days and shall be made available upon request of officers of the responsible authority. Public safety management to provide suitable and sufficient written health and safety risk assessments, include an annual fire risk assessment. A member of staff will be trained in first aid. Electric, gas and relevant equipment are to be checked and maintained in working order, tested annually. Prevention of public nuisance. The designated premises supervisor will provide management at all times. All regulated activities to cease in the licensed outdoor areas from 2000 hours to 1200 hours Monday to Sunday, and the supply of alcohol to cease in the licensed outdoor areas from 22:30 to 1000 hours Monday to Sunday. The noise from the premises will be monitored so as not to become a public nuisance. Notices will be posted asking patrons to leave quietly. An incident and complaints book will be kept on the premises and made available at all times, and the disposal of empties and bottles will not be done after 11 p.m. or before 7 a.m. in the morning. The protection of children from harm, premises will adopt the Challenge 21 or similar policy as proof of age scheme to be in operation during licensed hours, and all staff receive training on a regular basis with regards to Challenge 21 and identifying underage persons. Following the consultation period, there were no relevant representations received from any of the responsible authorities. However, representations have been received from local residents. These representations address concerns relating to two of the licensing objectives, namely the prevention of public nuisance and prevention of crime and disorder.
Thank you, David. Thank you, David. We now move to the applicant's later.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the outline of the matters there. What I'll do is I'll set out now the case for the applicant. I've already introduced the team who are with me, so once I've finished setting matters out, please feel free to fire any questions you have at us, and we've obviously got suitable breadth of knowledge of the premises between us to answer those. And then once you've done so, I'll provide you with a quick summary again of our position. Karen Stevens, who's with me as the DPS, and Tracy Fullylove have been involved in this premises since it was overtaken by Westbourne Leisure back around 6 years ago. We've appeared before the council committee once before in 2016, and apologies, I can't remember if any of the councillors who are here today, we appeared before on that occasion, so apologies for that. And what we came before you on that occasion was to ask for an extension to our licensable hours, and that was to extend sales to 1 o'clock on a Friday night and Saturday night with a closing time of 1:30 in the morning. And the committee granted that application on that occasion. They granted it for what we asked for, and we'd invite you today to do the same thing. When we appeared before you before, there were 4 objections against us on that occasion from local residents, and they raised substantially similar issues to what are raised in the representations today. But as we've seen today, there's only 2 representations against us, and there's no representations from local authorities, which we would say is very good evidence that what the concerns that were raised on the last occasion simply haven't come to pass, because there's less representations, and we've not had to appear before you in the intervening time period because nobody's had any meaningful concerns about our licence. So what that really demonstrates to you is we are a well-run premises, and we did exactly what we said we were going to do the last time we were here, and we'll continue to do that in the future. And so through this application, what we're seeking to do is, in essence, license and create a pub garden. And as you've heard, that'll be for regulated entertainment until 8 in the evening, and for the sale of alcohol until 10:30 in the evening. And that's what we're asking for. And as you're no doubt aware, in recent times, as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, there's been a national drive to encourage premises such as ours to use outdoor areas, and our application is very much in line with that. And what we're seeking to do is to create what we'd say is a family-friendly garden environment. So you'll have seen on the plan that, for example, there's a sand pit in there, that's quite a large one for children to use. And in due course, once COVID's calmed down a bit further, we'll have a bouncy castle out there on occasion. And that's the atmosphere we wish to create. That's the type of premises, and as you'll have seen, that's a much earlier terminal hour in the garden area compared to what our licensable hour is. In order to achieve that, we've already put a lot of money into the premises to make it, first of all, COVID compliant and to ensure that it's a viable business going forward. And so we really don't want to jeopardise any of that, because we think we're a good run premises and we want to continue to be so going into the future. And again, as I'm sure you're all aware, COVID has caused a lot of challenges for premises such as ours, because you've had to be compliant and the regulations have been constantly changing. And to that end, during the last 18 months, if we say, well, since during the COVID period, we've had 6 visits from the police, we think, and 4 visits from the environmental health. And on every occasion, they found us to be fully compliant with what we're required to be doing. So given how tricky those regulations are to be up to speed with and on board with, I hope that tells you something about how well run we are as a premises. And indeed, none of those bodies or any of the responsible authorities have made any representations in relation to this application. And the responsible authorities are deemed under the legislation as the responsible authorities for a reason. It's because they are the experts in the areas in which they know about. And the fact that they haven't made any representations, but are clearly aware of this premises, because, for example, like I say, they visited it in recent times to check COVID compliance, etc., gives you that added level of assurance that there are no problems with this premises and there will be no problems going forwards. To give you a bit more detail about what the precise setup outside will be, is the intention is we'll be doing table service in that area. And so we have a marquee that'll be outside, a pagoda and a seating area. And we intend to run table service in those areas. So the upshot of that is there'll constantly be staff supervising the outdoor areas. We've currently got a pool of about 20 staff, which is more than sufficient really for a premises at this site. So we have the capability for a very high level of staffing. And because of the nature we'll run the outdoor area, that means it will be under constant supervision. In any event, we would always ensure that it's under constant supervision, because that's the professional organisation that we are, and we want to ensure that that area is managed properly. The local area, just turning to the two objections that have been made. On the last occasion, the report described the area as mixed residential and business area, and that's exactly right. None of the residential properties that adjoin our premises have made a representation in relation to this application. So again, that tells you something about how the people most likely to be affected by this perceive the premises and perceive how it's run. Mr. Goody, if that's how you pronounce his name, apologies, I'm not quite sure, so any offence to him is unintentional, doesn't live directly next to the premises. He actually lives some distance away. So between us and him, there's numerous residential premises and a co-op. And so we really struggle to see how he would be affected by the licensing of the garden area in terms of noise or any issues of that nature. In relation to the other representation that's made, in fairness to it, it doesn't really actually say anything. And Father Philip actually recognises that the premises is well run. And so his concern is just very much a generalised one. Which I have to say is the case on the last time we were here as well. And so when you scrutinise those, the response to those, I don't know if you go into detail, because the response to why those issues won't arise are because we're a well-run premises. The conditions that apply to the existing extent of the licence will equally apply to this new area that's going to be licensed. And those conditions have allowed us to run the premises in a professional and manner in which there have been no problems, again, as exhibited by the lack of responsible authorities representations today. So the only additional conditions we're proposing are those ones that relate to the closing time of the extended area, because we're satisfied and confident that our existing conditions will continue to do a job and continue to achieve what they're intended to do so. The reality of the situation is our pub gardens are an entirely normal feature of towns and villages up and down the country, and that's exactly what this will be. We are a legitimate operation, we run things professionally, and that's what we'll do, and we don't see that there's any cause for concern here. And if there is any cause for concern, you can put your trust in us to deal with it properly. So if you have any questions, we're here to deal with them, and so please ask away.
Okay, thank you. At this point, I'd normally hand over to any other parties, but I don't believe we have anyone else who wishes to speak tonight. We do have a couple of written representations which you just referred to, and we'll obviously be taking their comments into account. With no one else to speak, I think we now move to the tribal, correct me if I'm wrong, we now move to the closing statements.
Well, Chair, I don't know if members do have any.
Of course, yes, sorry, I should give members the right to question. Yeah, Councillor Lees.
Just a question. I'd like to ask a lady who runs the premises. I'm not conversant with the area at all. I'm just looking at the map here, and it's got a club next to the pub. What sort of club is it? What do they do? Answer that question.
Yeah, it's a social club, and it's owned by Western as well. And that, just for me, you know, at the weekend they have entertainment time Saturday evening. I think it starts about 9:30.
So,
I'm not sure on their rules, but yeah, it's a nice club.
okay.
We get on well.
Thank you.
Help each other.
Thank you.
Would you like me to answer that? Because obviously Westbourne opened that premises as well. So the club it's run by a joint venture, which is a self-employed manager, and they do have entertainment on a Saturday. They also have functions in the function room. Now we're allowed to have them again. And that premises normally closes at about 12 o'clock. And they have got an external seating area on the front, and the car park is shared by both premises because obviously we own the land to both. So for the parking, that parking is used a lot by the church because the church have decreased their parking. And so we offer our car parking up. So it does facilitate all three businesses really, the church, the spread, and the club.
Thank you.
Any other questions from any other members? Quick question from me. You referred to the supervision of the garden area. Could you be a bit more specific about what that would entail, how that supervision would be carried out and by who?
Yeah, I'll ask Karen to pick that up.
So the garden area, we don't want to use the bar as a bar that you go up to and pay. We want to use the bar as a dispense. so that we can have 2 members of staff behind that bar dispensing and the waitress staff and the management on the floor. Now, we have used this during COVID from serving from the inside as well. And it works very well because we can see people. We can also see who's coming into the garden. And nobody is allowed in that garden area without being vetted. Now, we've done this purely because of COVID, but we are going to continue to do that. So the management consists of Tracy and Melissa. So one of them vets the door, and then we've got a full team. So I would say during COVID, we've used up to 18 people in that area. Now, obviously, from a profit sense, you would say that that doesn't make commercial sense, but it makes a lot of sense to us because we can really control that area for the families. And for us, it is a family-run pub. It's not a pub that's just managed by individuals where we just employ staff. Most of the people that work at the spread are family. And I think that's why we've been so successful for the 6 years that we've been there, because we do try really hard to keep the standards very high. And we want to do that. We want to continue to do that in the garden. So we don't want 500 people standing there. We want them seated, watching the music, obviously, and then to sit and have a drink. I mean, we've completely turned that business around. When we first came to see yourselves, the reason that we wanted the 1 o'clock licence is because the business was very pipe and slippers Monday to Friday. And then at the weekend, we had the entertainment, but we were known as more of a later venue for the entertainment. Well, as you can see from what we've asked for, we've brought our music earlier in so that for the COVID, number one, but that's working for us now. And if ever we have any later entertainment, that will be done in the premises where it's always been done, and we've never had a problem with it. So we'd like to run it like we've run it through COVID, because for us, we feel safe, the team feels safe, and the customers that come in with their kiddies and the type of clientele we're getting feel safe. And I think we've become a real centre for the local community in the sense that it's opened it up a bit. It's not just a tiny little pub anymore.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. Councillor Clues first and then Councillor Humphreys.
Thank you, Chair, through you, Chair. If I could just come back to what the ladies just stated. So you said that they're all being vetted when they come in. Do you think that's a more personal touch to the person than having an SIA door?
Most definitely. I think, to be honest with you, in a little village like Polesworth, door staff do not give out the message you want them to give. If I was turning up at a beer garden at 3 o'clock with my grandchild or my daughter or whatever family I've got, I wouldn't really want to be seen with a doorman vetting. I think the girls, Tracy's lived in the village 55 years. The same as myself, and we're very well known. So when myself, Tracy or Melissa are asking for ID, they don't take offence to that, to be honest. I think it's a very fine line with door, and I don't think we're the type of establishment that need that.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Humphreys.
Thank you, Chair. I was going on the same sort of thing. In the evening, it worries me how you're going to vet with, you're talking about the number of 500 people. That's going to be a lot of people outside.
No, the reason that I said about the 500, that's not what we're about.
How many people do you think you get in the premises at night then?
In the garden area?
Yeah.
Maybe 150 maximum in that area.
Right, so that you would have a top line of that. Once you've got to that number, how would you?
Once all the
click
seats
them in and click them out?
Click them in, click them out. Once all the seats are full and everywhere's monitored, we close. And during the football, which was very difficult for everybody to control, our door was closed at 4 in the day.
Yeah.
So once we're at capacity, we let no more in, and we've never done that. So again, that's for our own safety and the safety of the people that are there. You know, we've never ever been over capacity with the COVID rules for 18
I think
months.
everybody's slightly lost track on there about
Yeah.
18 months. So I think the point is, I hope that's come across quite clear. We very clearly know the sort of premises we want it to be and the sort of premises we don't want it to be. And we've certainly over the last 6 years been able to create that atmosphere. And through this, we're just continuing to do that. And this really is, just us progressing in the right direction rather than moving away from the type of business that we want to be.
And I mean, I can see during the day that it is a family pub that you want to encourage, and you've got a lovely garden there, but you're changing it at what time in the evening? I mean, I wouldn't want my grandchildren there once youth start going in there, to be honest. If I've got my 6-year-old grandson, I wouldn't want, once the drinkers start going in there, I wouldn't want them in there.
Children are off the premises for 9 p.m. inside and outside. So they're off the premises for 9 p.m.
So, you finished, Councillor?
Yes, sorry, I just.
Councillor Moss.
Could I just ask about checking ID? I've never been asked for my ID, and that makes me it's raised, is it?
Yes.
Oh, that's fine. Thank you.
You look over 20.
Go on.
So we operate the Challenge 21 policy, which is, so we don't ID people who look under 18, we ID people who don't look over 21, so that we're catching anybody who's potentially under 18. That's a sort of national scheme that, is pushed by Republicans nowadays.
Could I ask you one question? The barrister asked you, described you by 3 letters.
DPS.
What does that stand for?
Designated
Premises.
Premises.
That's fine. All answered to my satisfaction. Thank you.
I'm looking, I can't see any other hands at the moment. Okay,
Chair, with your permission, can I just ask a question?
of course, yeah. Just go.
Perhaps you said about the number of 150 people, and I apologise if I've missed this. It's partly because I'm taking a note of the hearing, obviously advise members properly, but these tables, are they fixed tables with a capacity of 150 people?
No. We've got round tables, which during COVID we had no more than 6 chairs at the table. And then we've got some external benches. And we've got a pagoda, which has got, how many tables?
There's
4 tables in the pagoda area. So we can move it around for different things. But at the moment, the marquee, whenever it's been used, has had the shutters come up to let more air in. So we've never gone over capacity at all. We've stuck within the COVID regulations.
Sorry, just again, I might have missed it. Is that where the 150 comes from? That was your safety capacity income?
No, I was asked how many normally would be in the garden. About 150 is the amount that we have in the garden at any one time.
Right.
Once every table is gone, that is socially distanced, and we intend to keep like that. The way we've set it out, we're happy with that setup. For us to waitress service and get round the tables, there is the space there. So once they're gone, they're gone. And then we've got the room inside the pub.
So there's the total number that you'll get in. You must have an idea of how many chairs you've got.
Yeah, I think it's about 150.
Yeah, I don't
I'm just trying
think
to-
we ever fill up.
It's not sure
to
quite
that
understood.
amount.
Yes, 150 is our maximum chairs, but we never fill to that amount.
No, we never fill.
I was just trying to get to that, and I wasn't sure where the 150 came from.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Clive. Again, let's look around for any hands. I can't see any. So if no one else has any questions, we've got no other with there's no other representatives. If we had, I would normally give the applicant now final right. Guy, I'm assuming you don't think that is necessary.
No, well, I think, like I've already said, the representations aren't really ones I can respond to in detail because they're not particularly specific. And what I've tried to do is identify to you the type of premises we are and how we run it and how we intend to run it. And so there's not much more I can say on that. I would just like to stress again, though, that, you know, this is a premises and not only are there no representations from responsible authorities in relation to the premises that have been actively visited by responsible authorities, which is very much the nature of COVID at the moment. And so it really is on their radar. So if there were any problems in that regard, you would be aware of them. And, you know, there's not, those representations haven't been made. And just as a final point, just the council policy, paragraph 5.2 says the council does not wish to unduly inhibit the development of thriving and safe evening and nighttime local economies, which are important for investment and employment locally and in the main welcomed by residents and visitors to the borough. And we see this as being an application which falls squarely within that. We think we should be welcomed, we'll run things properly, and we already think we're an asset to the community, and we hope this makes us more of an asset to the community.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your presentation and the clear answer to all the questions that were raised. I'm going to bring the hearing to a close. The committee now needs to deliberate and make a decision. So I'm going to ask everyone who's not a member of the committee to, if they mind, leaving the room while we discuss what we've heard, and we'll
we'll get a decision today. It's not a case of coming back another day.
Yeah, I anticipate that we'll get a
we'll go away next time. Then, thank you.
So I'll ask David to show you to it. Now I'm just going to that we'll stop the recording of the broadcast.